I originally started this months ago. Wait, no, technically years ago. I started this years ago. Just finished it months ago. And now I'm finally recording the full time lapse. Now, a thing that should be noted is this time I didn't include the flatting or the sketching process. Now, the reason for that is that originally the sketch was done on my phone in Metabang Paint, and the flats were also done in Metabang Paint on my phone. Just a quick little sketcheroony, and I just threw the flat colors under there, nothing fancy. And then I merged it, and then I imported it to Photoshop, where the actual time lapse started, where I began with establishing soft shading and adding in colors that weren't originally there in the flats. Now, this character has a very, very white skin tone. Not Caucasian white, mind you, like actual literal white. So I had to think of, okay, well, what colors would I want to input in that to make it a little more organic? And then looking at the ref a little bit harder, I go, oh wait, it's kind of like a grayish light green almost. So then I threw in some dark greens, a little bit of pinks, because that would reflect highly, especially on a transparent or translucent surface. Gives me a lot of opportunities to have a lot of fun with tons of different colors inside the mix. Now, as for some context as to what the piece is actually of, back in the day, back in the far off year of 2017, 18, I don't even remember. Oh no, 16. 2016, I used this funny little app, this quirky little device on your cell phone. It's called Amino, and it has a bunch of little communities in it where you meet like-minded individuals and create a fun little echo chamber where if anyone disagrees with you, you're allowed to curse them. And you'll have people to help you curse them. And I used to love, actually I still do love, I just don't have any time anymore. I used to love going on there and finding really cool characters that people create, and I used to, just for practice, draw their characters for them out of the convenience and kindness of my absolutely cold, dead black heart. And for funsies, it was fun, it was interesting, I get to practice my art style, and this was one of the most latest attempts of doing that. And this character is Ivory, owned by Irokaz Senpai over on the Steven Universe Amino. I've done commission work for them in the past. I've done art. I don't think I've done an art trade. I mostly just commissions. I think I've done 2 or 3 commissions for Irokaz. He's pretty cool. Pretty cool dude. Has really good art, has really good characters. And this is of his character, Ivory. And Ivory caught my eye because A, it's a gemsona that's not necessarily a gemstone. B, pretty colors. Pretty colors catch my little moth-like eyeballs very quickly, where I go, ooh, shiny thing, must draw and or attempt to draw. And that led me to just sketching her out on my phone because I believe at the time there was some sort of awful hard drive crash with my computer. One of the several horrible crashes with my computer since having a computer. Having multiple computers, actually. Never trust anything. Never trust computers. Don't trust people. Everything's out to get you. Trust nobody. Trust no computer. Don't even trust yourself. I think you're out to get yourself too. But, of course, as art and life has been changing and growing over the years, I've found myself unable or less able or less capable of taking up projects and assuredly finishing them. I feel like I don't finish anything anymore. I don't know why. I try really hard to finish things, I really do, but then I just gradually get less and less happy with them as I go along, and I have to linger more and more. But what's fortunate with this piece is that I knew exactly what I wanted from the start. I had a very basic clean sketch ready for me, so it wasn't too hard to finish because it was just so simple. It's just a little portrait, right? And as I've grown older as an artist and I've been trying to do more ambitious pieces, of course that means I'm less likely to finish them because I get more caught up in the tedium or the process of working on the picture rather than actually finishing it. And it's difficult because I am unable to discern whether it's an appropriate time to let a piece go, because very rarely do I let a piece go that I'm still satisfied with it by the time that I set it free into the wild. And I feel very, very unhappy with any picture that I have to just decide I'm done with. I feel the need to grasp on to things now that I have higher standards for myself. And I don't feel like I can achieve the proper amount of skill I want within a work without spending literal months on it. And even then, it doesn't come out very, very well. So I'm just stuck in this horrible loop of picking up a piece, realizing I had issues from my previous attempts, fixing those, stopping, and then realizing, oh wait, that previous attempt also wasn't good. Gotta fix that again. And the problem is that maybe what I used to like and what I like now, of course, are very different. Because most of my whips, or at least a good portion of my whips, my works in progress that is, are considerably old. They're about 4 to 5 years old, all of them. And a lot can change in 4 to 5 years, especially in terms of taste and skill development. And what I used to think of or think that I wanted to achieve may not be the same anymore. And what I'm trying to achieve now may be completely different. So because my goals are just completely realigned, that means I have to redo the piece, or I have to get rid of something that I poured my heart into, that I'm really, really in love with, that I'm really was originally hoping to make me really happy. And it did at the time. It's just knowing that it'll never see the light of day unless I give up, essentially, is kind of a heartbreaking venture. So that actually is what I'm most been trying to work on as of late, is efficiency and speed. Because efficiency and speed are arguably almost more important than any other skill itself, because what's the good of making a beautiful picture if you never actually finish it or are satisfied enough with it to show anyone? It's basically that you didn't even make the picture. Not that making pictures is solely for the sake of showing anyone. I usually just like pictures just for making me happy, actually. And awesome if I can make other people happy in the process. It's just the absolute goal when I create art is to just try and create a physical version, or at least a visual version that's in digital pixel format, of what I have exactly in my head. And the closer I get to that, the better. And as I get closer and closer to that goal, I realize, oh no, a horribly high amount of time has passed. So things that should take a normal human being about 7 to 10 hours ends up taking me weeks and ends up less satisfactory as a result. And I don't really know how to overcome this because, like I said, if I don't work on it as much as I do, then I release it and it's the worst thing I've ever seen. It's disgusting. I go, oh man, I could have done this. I could have done this. What's the point of making art if it doesn't make you happy, you know? Or at least what's the point of making art if it doesn't serve the purpose that you do art for? And the reason I do art is to create the things in my head. And if I'm releasing stuff that looks nothing like what was in my head, or at least doesn't look like how I would like things to look in my head, then it's essentially worthless. It renders art useless. So the whole thing of just release art, even if you don't think it's finished, you gotta finish it at some point. That's a very slippery slope, because at that point, what I would consider the worst thing in the world and what someone would consider very good can be interchangeable. Because who's to say when a picture's done? The artist, right? And if the artist is unhappy and doesn't want to release it, then that picture goes unnoticed, or it goes unloved, or it goes unrecognized. And the picture, what I'm trying to say is something that would be a quick, rough, messy sketch, releasing that as a finished piece is like the same as someone saying, oh, it's fully painted, just release it, when in actuality it looks nothing like how I want it to. It's essentially the same thing. What's to stop me from drawing a stick on a piece of paper and saying, hey, look, it's finished. It's finished because people said it's finished, because I wouldn't finish it otherwise. Otherwise, I just keep toiling away on this line until it's something actually good. And distinguishing where that line is drawn between the two, where it's, I've made this and I am satisfied with it, or I've made this and it's not how I envision, but at the very least I have it finished, is a very difficult in between to find. It's something that I've been struggling with almost for 2 years now. Almost for 2 years straight, maybe even earlier. But in the last 2 years, it's the thing I've noticed to have been bugging me the most at the very least. And my main goal right now is to figure out how to create art efficiently and in a satisfactory manner to where I don't feel like I'm releasing underproduced art or releasing pictures that I feel I didn't put any heart or love into. My main goal is to make art I am both happy with that actually gets made, rather than just sits on my computer for 40 years while I say, oh yeah, I'll finish it, but I need to do this first, but I need to do this first, but I need to fix this first, but I need to fix this first, on and on and on, until I probably look at it one day and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm 87. I started this whip when I was 18. Where did the time go? And the time went trying to fix those exact same whips. It's not even that I wasn't working on them. It's just that I wasn't able to make them satisfactorily. Oh, here's a fun thing, is those little blue butterflies. I don't remember why I picked the butterflies at the time. Keep in mind this was months ago, so any and all train of thought that I had originally while working on this has been lost to time. But for some reason I went with the butterflies, probably because, as we saw, I was just toiling with different ideas for a textured background, because I just thought a flat background would be a little too lame. So I'm glad I was able to switch to a butterflies, because that definitely looks better than nothing, at least in my opinion. But you know what opinions are. Opinions are like butts. They're made for pooping. Wait, no, that's not right. But on the bright side, at least feel like I'm improving while not actually finishing anything. I could just not be finishing anything and not improving either. I could have just been wasting my time away playing League of Legends for the past few years. What a shame that would be. That was a shame that would be if that happened. Yeah, absolute shame if that happened. That would suck. No, but even with all my meandering, goofing off, misadventures, and so on and so forth, I feel like I've still definitely improved, despite the fact that I'm underproducing art more than ever in all of my years creating art. Like, I organize my art files year by year by year, and if you check this year's files, it is the lowest amount ever in all of my files since I started creating, which was like 2014? Oh man, I'm bad at math. I'm horrible at math. That's why I accidentally stumbled into being an artist and not an accidental mathematician. Whatever, I was like 15, 16 when I started doing digital painting. Moral of the story. Just gotta do your best. You can whine and complain and be sad all the time that you're not doing your best, but as long as you know you're trying, that's all anyone can ask of you. That's all you can ask for yourself is, hey, am I at least trying to achieve my goals? If the answer is no, then that might be where some dissatisfaction in life may be coming from. As long as you're at least trying to achieve your goals, nobody can blame you. You can't even blame you. If you're not achieving them, then maybe you gotta try a little bit harder, but also at the same time, if you're trying your best, that's the best you can get. But you know what? It's just as a great Dark Souls player once said, get good. That's honestly the only thing that's kept me going, is that stupid meme of the skeleton saying, get good. Maybe it was a pigeon. I don't know, there's a lot of versions of the get good meme. Get good. That's my advice. Don't like where you are artistically? Okay, get good. Don't like where you are in life? Get good. You can't get good? Get good so then you can start getting good, you know? Like there's always something that can be done about your art. If you're dissatisfied with it, you can always try something new. Or if you can't try something new, you can always try just doing what you are already doing, but trying to perfect it. If you're truly dissatisfied, you gotta practice more, or you gotta take a break maybe. Sometimes if you overwork yourself, your brain gets confused and it doesn't remember how to art anymore. Sometimes you just gotta take a week off. I know if I don't take a week off every now and then, my elbow hurts. Now, people say that that's actually a joint inflammation, but who cares? It's probably just my body saying I needed to take a break from art. Wait, that's exactly what joint inflammations are. Never mind. Oh yeah. Update. Upon looking at Ivory's gallery on Steven Universe Amino, I figured out why it was the blue butterflies. There's a picture of her holding a little blue butterfly that Irakaz senpai drew. Beautiful. Got a cute little blue butterfly. That must have been what I drew that after last time. How fun. Aren't butterflies the best? They just spawn right next to the highway, so then your car just gets a collective of them stuck in your grill. Beautiful. Nature truly is magical and majestic. But on the subject of things horribly disguising themselves as art issues is the inevitable concept of laziness, whether it be intentional or not, noticed or not, is, oh, I can't finish this because it's too daunting. And there comes into fruition a little bit difference in the concepts. I'm throwing words out there to make myself sound smart, but in actuality what I'm trying to say is that when a piece looks daunting, it may not always be because it's daunting. It may possibly just be laziness or confusion or just dissatisfaction disguised as laziness. Or laziness disguised as laziness? That's absolutely nonsense. My point being, no matter what, should always be trying to figure out what's wrong and how to address it, instead of just accepting defeat and going, oh, I don't want to work on this right now, I'll do it later. And the correct course of option, or at least for me, the correct course of action, I should say, would instead to be, okay, I need to start setting a deadline, because if I take too long on this, it will never ever be finished. So from now on, I need to do a deadline where I prioritize at least making the piece look half finished and then hyperfixating on details like I tend to do, which is what originally causes me to get lost in unfinished work in progress hell, where I need to just absolutely make sure that at the very least the piece is clean before I start putting care and love and detail into every stroke, like I sometimes tend to do. It's rare that I actually, it's rare that I put attempts, but it happens sometimes. Less likely than you'd think, but it happens on the rare occasion. Especially for commissions. If I'm being commissioned, I want to make sure people are happy with what I give them. I want people to be satisfied, because I know that if I were paying someone to draw something for me, I would want them to, at the very least, put care and effort into it, because that's what you're paying them for, is to put love and care and effort into it. So at the very least, if I'm being commissioned, I have to go out of my way to make sure that it's somewhat clean before deciding this is a little too daunting right now, I need to wait. I'll at least make it a little bit clean, and then I'll go, all right, few minutes break, couple days break, maybe even, and then I need to get back to work and focus on the details. Now I really need to start putting in the effort. Because what it comes down to is, it's my effort that makes the piece look worth my time. It's effort that makes it a creation that I'm proud of and not something that I'm ashamed of and have to keep in the work in progress folder. If I avoid laziness in the first place, then that'll stop the eternal struggle of everything being a work in progress. Thank you for watching.